Calling it on Mojo 50 Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now, with you. And it's, no longer about necessarily just resisting what the left is trying to do to us. It's a little bit more about trying to get it back. It is more about restoration these days. And I am coming to you right now on Saturday, the 8th of May, in the year of our Lord, 2021. Tomorrow, it is Mother's Day. If you haven't gotten anything yet, you're boned. Seriously, you're boned. You're just bent over and screwed. You know, if you're trying to set up Mother's Day for your wife, then you're definitely not screwed. But yeah, I still need to take care of Mother's Day. But I did want to take a couple of minutes real quick just to give a shout out, give some love to all the mothers out there. Number one, my beautiful wife, mother of our 4 children, to give her some love. She doesn't listen to my show much these days just because she listens to me every other minute of every other day. So she gets quite enough. And also to give a shout out to my own mother. Very, very strong woman, very moral and righteous and upstanding, and just tough as nails lady, okay? So big shout out, lots of love to all of our mothers out there on Mother's Day. If you're listening to this on Sunday, happy Mother's Day. If not, happy early Mother's Day or belated, as needed. You see, that's what happens when you have a show that goes to podcast. People can listen to it anytime, so you got to make sure that you adapt for all the different timings that are possible. So we have 3 stories we're going to be getting to today. And they're crazy. They are bat crap insane. Okay? One of them, the first one, it's going to be damaging to your childhood. So before we get into that, I did want to talk to you about our buddies over at preparewithmojo50.com, preparewithmojo50.com. That is my Patriot Supply. And they are your backup plan. It's about preparedness, not panic. Preparedness, not panic. Okay, these are the people who can provide you with that reserve, which it seems to be becoming more and more important as every day passes. This past week, have you taken a look at Dogecoin and the cryptos? They've been going insane. Inflation is becoming a very serious concern. Are you protected in case there's massive food inflation? In case there's a serious supply breakdown and a lack of logistics like there was around when COVID started up? No? Then you need to get in touch with these people. Okay? You can do the 4-week emergency food supply for $247, 3-month emergency food supply for $697. All right, make it happen. Most responsible thing you can do with your stimulus money if you still got any of that left. But please, please, be a safe place for your family. Be prepared for your family. Be prepared for your friends. Surround yourself with like-minded people. And this is the best way to start. Preparewithmojo50.com. Okay, so first story of the day. Remember Nickelodeon? Where are my 90s kids at? My 80s and 90s kids at? Where you at, guys? Remember Nickelodeon? Remember, like, Doug and Rugrats and Clarissa Explains It All and Rocko's Modern Life and, to a much lesser extent, Ren and Stimpy? Do you remember that? Well, Nickelodeon has started shilling straight-up propaganda to our children. Nickelodeon was the mainstay of 80s and 90s kids, and now it's gone totally woke. I wrote, mark the date, most of our childhoods died on April 23rd, 2021, when the network we grew up knowing as Nick aired this atrocity of indoctrinating propaganda aimed at America's youth. Alright, check this out. I'm going to go picture-in-picture here for you. This is what they tweeted. Learn the meaning of environmental racism from Nick News.
Black snow, the thick soot that pollutes Pahokee, Florida. There's Cancer Alley, which is an area along the Mississippi River in Louisiana that's lined with oil refineries and air so toxic in New York's South Bronx that 20% of children have asthma. What do these cities have in common? They're all examples of environmental racism, a form of systemic racism, where minority and low-income communities are surrounded by health hazards because they live near sewage, mines, landfills, power stations, major roads. In Philadelphia, it's hazardous waste. In San Carlos, Arizona, it's a mining project that would dishonor an Apache sacred site. But it has never been more devastating and harmful than in Duplin, North Carolina, where, believe it or not, the number of hogs outnumber the number of residents.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to take this whole thing apart. But yeah, there's a couple of minutes of this, and I'm just going to let it run a little bit, and then I'm probably just going to cut it off and just go on the attack on this thing, because rage.
My name is Fiona. I grew up in Duplin County, North Carolina.
Fiona moved away from Duplin County as soon as she could, which is why she's okay opening up about life there. When we tried reaching out to a number of people currently living in Duplin County, they were too scared to go on camera.
It's a small town, and there's a farm on almost every corner.
No, I think they were too scared. They weren't scared to go on camera. They were scared to look like idiots, but let's go on.
Duplin County in eastern North Carolina produces more hogs than any other county in the United States.
Good. I like bacon.
Chances are that piece of bacon or pork chop you eat might have come from here.
Ah.
And listen to this. There are 2 million hogs in that county with just under 60,000 residents.
Now, I'm going to pause on this. Okay? And I'm going to go back to my story. This is a whole 7-minute segment. And I broke down in this article, link will be in the description, the multiple inaccuracies here. And I write, in their interview regarding Duplin, North Carolina, the young lady they interview states, what hogs do is well, she's going to get to that in a minute. Here we go. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we go. The vacuous and vapid news team demonstrated their mind-rending ignorance of how rural America and modern agriculture work when they reacted with amazement and horror that there are 2 million hogs in a county with just under 60,000 residents. Morons. All right, moving along. Let's get back to it.
And many of the people work in the hog farms, which it turns out are dangerous to their health and to the environment.
Growing up in Duplin County, we would go outside and play with our friends and our cousins, whoever lived in our community. But sometimes the air quality would be so bad to the point where we would have to strictly play in the house. And that was due to the hog farms spraying feces in the fields.
Yes, you heard that right. For decades, residents have complained that just breathing in the feces-infested air alone can make you sick.
Okay. You catch that? Feces-infested air. So let's explain for idiots who have never lived near a farm. In their investigation, the young lady they interview states, what the hogs do is they use the bathroom, and it's mixed with a certain water. It is sprayed in all the fields in order to grow crops for food. It gets into our pipelines where the water turns a different color. It can be anywhere from a rusty brown to pink. Going to school, you'd be very self-conscious because you feel that because of the smell. Whenever you walk down the road and the wind is up, you can feel it. It's like a shower on your skin, and it's full of feces. One user on Twitter, Mel at Kismet Spawn, tweeted, Duplin County is 70% white and is far from the poorest North Carolina county. Also, the lagoons in this video are used to eliminate feces by breaking down the waste into a liquid nutrient-based spray fertilizer. Is it really a wonder that Nickelodeon eliminated commenting on this tweet? Because, oh yes, on the tweet and also on the YouTube video, which is an hour long. Number one, both have been ratioed completely. But likes and comments have been disabled on both. They're worried about something. So let's advance it a little bit past where she talks about being able to taste it and all that. Okay, so I fast forwarded past where she talks about it's like having a shower on your skin. It's full of feces. But let's let her continue.
And it's full of feces. It is environmental racism.
Is it
Companies put their hog farms in areas that are mainly poor areas with black people and Hispanic people. So I would say people of color.
All right, we're gonna blow that up right now. We're gonna detonate this absolute, just flaming pile of bull, and we're going to lay it bare, okay? In the self-same interview, the young interviewee states, "It is environmental racism. Their companies put their hog farms in areas that are mainly poor areas with black people and Hispanic people. So I would say people of color are afraid to speak up because they don't want to bite the hands that feed them." Twitter user Ryan Gill covered this one tweet quite nicely. Quote, "If you're an immigrant from an impoverished nation or just a poor dude, you're more likely to gravitate toward areas with a lower standard and cost of living. But it is closer to the dirty yet good-paying industries. It's not because white men are racist, it's economics, idiots." The obvious exception to this is when a new agricultural operation is built in an existing area. And I have an example of that too. Hickman's Farms in Tonopah and Arlington, Arizona. And I've got a bit of a personal stake in this. Full disclosure, my mother lives out there. Okay? So let's break this down for you. Nickelodeon is forwarding the claim that these farms are built in areas with mainly black and brown residents who won't fight their disregard for the environment. There's a few problems with that. Someone who lives outside of Malibu, or anyone can Google demographics, can pick out. Twitter user @CRTRecycle was kind enough to give us a demographic breakdown. The demographics of Duplin County, North Carolina are 58.67% white, 28.94% black, 0.23% native, Asian 0.07%, and Pacific Islander 10.8%. Environmental racism? Against whom? Environmental racism is a red herring, or equals red herring. A couple of common examples of how normal the ratio of livestock to people is and how the characterization of Duplin, North Carolina's hog farms are not even close to being environmentally racist. Tonopah, Arizona, population 51, population of chickens 3 million. Demographics, white, non-Hispanic, 100%. Now, grant you, that's for Tonopah proper. Outside of the CDP, there are more, I would say, Hispanic Americans, just because I don't live there, but I have family there. But overwhelming majority, white and Hispanic. 3 million chickens. Arlington, Arizona, population 131, population of chickens 13 million. Demographics, white, non-Hispanic, 57%. White with Hispanic, 32%. Other Hispanic, 8.4%. American Indian, Alaska Native Hispanic, 2.29%. Black or African American, non-Hispanic, bingo, 0. The Nick News report also presents 24 lawsuits filed by local residents, many of whom are black, as prima facie evidence of environmental racism. Spare me, please. Hickman's Farms, which owns facilities in Tonopah and Arlington, has been subject to lawsuit after lawsuit for the smell, ammonia levels, and particulates their industrial farms spew. This is not a racial issue. It is a legal and regulatory issue. Not every issue is a racial issue. And anybody who grew up in agricultural America, in rural America, has encountered this. Where I live, we have fields that surround the property. And when they put down fertilizer, you smell it. When they grow cabbage and they turn over the cabbage plants after the cabbages have been harvested, they turn them over back into the soil to fertilize the soil. And you know what? The whole area reeks of rotting cabbage for a couple of weeks. It happens. This is a part of living in rural America. It's not environmental racism, you hacks. It's part of living in rural America. You get smells. Now, in the instance of Hickman's, I do believe that there's some bad faith here because people over a mile away are getting this, and there is a problem here. I've spoken to people who live out in Tonopah. I've spoken to people who live out in Arlington. You follow the stories. There is an issue, and there's another issue here too because there's local politics involved, and it's never nice. Okay, but what they're describing and characterizing as environmental racism is not environmental racism. It is the normal politics of rural America. And if you grew up in any kind of an agricultural or rural setting, you've dealt with this, regardless of your color. Agricultural companies, I write, like any other company, will work within regulatory laws to the extent that they are enforced. So let's see what else they have to say. There's one other bit on here that absolutely drove me insane. They made a claim about nuclear power. That is absolute nonsense. Just bat crap insane. Yeah, you're saying people are afraid to speak up and bite the hand that feeds them. Okay, copper mining in Arizona. Yeah, that's not environmental racism. That's just, again, environmentalism. It's not racist just because it's Native Americans. So I'm going to breeze through that, and I'm not going to tackle that head on. I know it's Arizona, so I should know. But, okay, here we go. I am going to comment on one thing here, where the young lady makes a fairly ignorant statement, and people are going to go to a semantic argument with me, but she says that an area is contaminated with cancer. And carcinogens, sure. Contaminated with cancer? That's not a thing, okay? I grew up in New Jersey. You want to talk about carcinogens? Toms River, New Jersey, where I spent part of my childhood in Beechwood, is like one of the biggest cancer nodes in New Jersey. And I grew up in a small town called Carteret, where we had U.S. Metals right there, and the Copper Works, and GATX, and a whole bunch of chemical plants. You want to talk about carcinogens? Jeez. The place is not contaminated with cancer. There may be carcinogens, but those are not cancer themselves, and you sound stupid when you say it. All those places are contaminated with cancer. All right, so let's go here. Pennsylvania, here we go. Here we go. This is bat crap crazy, and anybody who's ever worked in and around nuclear power knows this. So I'm going to roll this right now.
Back across the country in Philadelphia, in many low-income neighborhoods and communities of color, the air quality is unhealthy because of nuclear plants and other industrial waste from big companies and factories.
Did that moron just say air pollution from nuclear plants? From nuclear power plants? Hang on. Listen to this.
And communities of color, the air quality is unhealthy because of nuclear plants and other industrial waste from big companies and
from nuclear plant. You could have who wrote this crap? You could have said from industrial waste from big companies and factories, and I'd be like, yeah, that's rough. That whole area, right down there along the Delaware River, a lot of pollution there, a lot of heavy industry. I get it. I'm with you, and it goes back to what the earlier Twitter commenter said about economics. These are areas with lower standard and therefore lower cost of living. That's where they live. Sometimes people can't get out of that, and I get it. I understand. We need to take some efforts to try to make the environment there better and alleviate that a bit, but nuclear plants? You sound stupid. Nickelodeon, fire your writers.
Factories that pollute the air. The nuclear plants and their waste rob these underserved communities of clean air. What do nuclear power plants emit? Steam! That's it. Steam. It gets awfully steamy in there. Seriously, the cooling towers from a nuclear power plant emit
steam. Water vapor. If a nuclear power plant is emitting anything other than water vapor, you got a problem. Okay, that's where, I'm glad they said Pennsylvania, you get 3 Mile Island. Okay? That's called a nuclear disaster. And 3 Mile Island was the last significant one to happen in the United States. The last significant one to happen in the world was Fukushima Daiichi in Japan, and that's because that sucker got hit by a tsunami. Okay? That's what happens when a nuclear power plant gets hit by a tsunami. Not really a lot of avoiding that. You want to talk about just malfeasance and poor construction? You got to go all the way back to Ukraine and Chernobyl under the Soviet Union in the 80s. We go on.
Rob those underserved communities of clean air.
No, they don't.
Youth activist Sabira is working to highlight evidence of environmental racism by calling them out and asking for a change in conditions.
In the area I live in, it's mostly, I have parks, I have, recycling bins, which is kind of the bare minimum, just to live. Environmental racism consists of being deprived of something that can be beneficial towards your, a sustainable life. Going on walks and having trees and not walking into trash every other block. You can't go outside and just, breathe fresh air because the air is contaminated and has pollutants because of local power plants.
Stop you right there. They have pollutants because of local factories. If you want to talk to me about coal-fired power plants, fine. There are carbon scrubbers they can actually put in the exhaust that actually help with that. If you want to talk to me about natural gas power plants, they burn mostly clean. You want to talk to me about nuclear power plants? They burn absolutely clean. It's steam. And funny, right up until that sentence, I was on board with her. Were you? I don't want trash in my streets. I don't want air pollution. Most conservatives, this is a completely true statement, most conservatives are conservationists. Why? We love the outdoors. We are called upon, biblically, to be good stewards of the earth and all the creatures that God created. We're called upon to do it. We're hunters. We're outdoorsmen. We go camping. We go climbing. We go hiking. Outdoor sports are huge among conservatives. So the vast majority are, yes, conservationists. But we also understand that people need to keep warm and have power. We're going to take a quick break here. And I'm pretty much done breaking this down. But this is the kind of crap that Nickelodeon has put out. They put out an hour of it. This propaganda. And they're feeding this to our children. When I was a kid, it was Doug. It was all that. It was Clarissa Explains It All. It was Rocko's Modern Life. Real monsters. Cartoons. Kid shows. Game shows like Nickelodeon Guts. Like, What Would You Do? Like, Double Dare. Fun stuff for kids. Not indoctrinating them in the belief system of environmental racism. This is absurd. This is shameful. You'll notice here on my screen, comments are blocked out, but it's been ratioed to hell. It's got 3.8 thousand retweets with comment, and the retweets with comment are brutal. Absolutely brutal. See, Nickelodeon and people they mentioned can only reply. Guys, this is sickening to me. This is straight up indoctrination. And Nickelodeon has to be held accountable for it. All right, folks, that's the half. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, our 2 other stories of the day. One on COVID that is not going to shock any of my listeners, and the other one on a very surprising Supreme Court case getting surprising support. You're listening to HoloNet. Stick around.
got my
Mojo 50.
I got my mojo working out.
Live free.
I got my mojo working. I got my mojo working out. But it just won't work on you. I got my mojo working. But I just don't know what to do, y'all.
You're listening to the Holonet on Mojo 50 Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
And we're back. You're listening to Holonet on the Mighty Powerful Mojo 50 Radio. Thanks for hanging out through the break. Before we get into the second half of our show, did want to talk to you about a fantastic sponsor of Mojo 50 Radio, which I can now proudly tell you about. It is My Pillow. That's right, mypillow.com. You can get your Giza Dream Sheets. I have got them on my bed right now. Love those things. Also, you can get your My Pillow. You can get your slippers. You can get your robe. You can get your towels. You can get so many things from mypillow.com and use your promo code MOJO50. Tell them who sent you. The guarantee on this is absolutely insane, and that is probably one of the biggest reasons to go with My Pillow. Hang on just a sec. Let me pull this up for you. I actually have a list of different things that I'm supposed to talk about, but I don't always do it because I kind of suck. But yeah, whatever. Alright, so let me see here. Okay. So, right now, you can do discounts on all My Pillow products that are out there. They've actually been marked down, believe it or not, from the little spike that they had in prices. All My Pillow products actually come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. So 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. Go to mypillow.com, click on New Radio Listener Specials, and get deep discounts on all the My Pillow products, including buy one, get one, I believe, is still going on the Giza Dream Sheets right now. I'm going to double-check that. Let me see here. My Pillows, let's see. New Radio Listeners. I haven't actually gone through this myself. I know, I'm like totally borking this, but you know, you're used to stuff like this from listening to my show. But here we go. So it's go to mypillow.com, click on the New Radio Listener Specials. So let's see here, Master Products, Max Books, New Rivals, Pillows, Mattresses. Here we go. They got the TV specials on here. I was looking in the wrong place because I'm a goof. Yeah, so they have the TV specials that are on here. Newspaper specials. Mike Gallagher, Sean Hannity. They have all these different radio listener specials on here. Make sure you check it out. But when you get to the promo code section, you definitely need to enter in Mojo50. And that will enable you to get whatever discounts we have currently in play. And like I said, benefit from that 60-day return policy on there, 60-day money-back guarantee, and the 10-year warranty. Guys, this is where rubber hits road of supporting conservative companies, supporting conservative networks, and you can do both by shopping through mypillow.com. So I can't recommend them enough. The products are amazing. Mike Lindell is doing so much for this country right now and fighting the good fight. And we need to support the people who are supporting us. So I urge you, go to mypillow.com, use your promo code Mojo50, get that done. We've seen, here it is. Oh my God, why can't I find stuff? Radio Listener Special right here on screen. Derp! You click on that, and it takes you straight to the Radio Listener Specials. Save 40% off on my slippers. You can get With God All Things Are Possible, Mike's memoir, for $9.97. Giza Dream Sheets are buy one get one. 6-piece My Pillow towel set for $44.98. 3 mattress toppers from My Pillow, 30% free, and 2 free standard pillows. Dog beds they've got now. Dog beds? I've got dogs. They've got My Sleepwear, My Pillow weighted blanket, Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows, My Pillow body pillow, and new duvet covers. Oh man, I should have bought one from here. Anyway, guys, check it out. Fantastic new partners with Mojo 50, and we're excited. All right, done like spurging on about how cool My Pillow is. And before I get into this, because I guarantee I'm going to run over, AmericanPrideRoasters.com, American Pride Roasters, official coffee Mojo 50. Make sure you support this company. American Pride Roasters has been the official coffee of Mojo 50 for a long time. Got Brad's brown bag. Defenders Light, time for choosing. On the roof, same as $20, same as downtown. Bells of Liberty, chocolate covered strawberry. All that fun stuff. American Pride Roasters. Cool. So now, I got something breaking. And language is going to be a little strong here. But, I will try to do something about it as far as helping with the F-bombs and such. Yeah, getting a bad buzz. A little bit of feedback there. A new story is breaking in Plano, Texas. That is a very, very troubling development. Apparently there have been roads blocked in Plano. And the police are just standing idly by doing nothing and actually getting in the face of the people who are trying to pass through and use the road. Now, there's a video that's gone viral. Jack Posobiec tweeted it out. And I'm going to tell you right now, I do not support the fact that this man decided to get in a woman's face and slap a phone out of her hand. But what I will say troubles me is that the Plano, Texas police are enabling these people to just straight up block the roads. Okay? It's very, very troubling. Very, very disturbing. And there is a lot of cussing. So I'm going to try to censor this in real time. And I may not succeed. Now, Mojo 50 policy says that as long as I don't say it, then Leprechaun doesn't get his $20. But I just want to give you a warning in advance. There may be some harsh language here. But I am going to try to do something about that just as soon as this comes up. But we're going to go to Plano, which is trending on Twitter right now. And you see this video is everywhere from Jack Posobiec. So let me see if this works. Okay, looks like the censor button is working, so I'm going to try to do that real quick. I'm going to try to keep up with it. But this is a 2-minute long video. Breaking: Plano, Texas police officer allows armed left-wing militia to illegally block traffic and then reprimands the driver who attempts to clear the road and defend himself. Now, that is not 100%. I'm going to criticize Jack here because the guy took a swipe at a lady who was filming him on a phone. That ain't right. But we're going to go to that video right now. There's definitely some high tempers here, so check it out. This is in Plano, Texas.
Get the fuck out of my way! Where's the goddamn car? Get these fucking people out of my way! You get them out of here! They can't be standing in the middle of the road!
It is right there. Sorry, getting some buffer in here. But, You see the police officer. There's one police officer, and there's 20 or 30 Black Lives Matter riders illegally blocking the road here. And this is around DFW, Plano, Texas. And this is insanity. And the cop is just trying to get the guy to go back to his car. And look at the line of cars. There's a line of cars like easily a mile long. And they're following this guy. They're following him. Got two women trying to follow the guy, and a guy in like a tactical vest telling him go back to the intersection, telling everybody go back to the intersection. This is happening in Plano, Texas. Today. Now, a couple things I want to go back and review real fast. Number one, this is absolutely an armed group, and it's going to be fast, but you're going to see a gun come out here and point at this guy. So he strolls up here, and he takes a swipe at this lady's phone, which is wrong. I'm going to say that 1,000 times. You're a man. You don't throw hands at a woman. You defend yourself. You block. But her filming you, you don't throw hands. I'm sorry. I can't agree with that. So here's the guy. He goes after the phone, and we see this black gentleman on the right, tactical vest. You look in the lower right-hand corner of your screen right now. He's reaching. Okay, look at that. He's got a reach going. He's reaching into his belt right down here. I'm showing this on Facebook and YouTube right now. If you're watching the video, he's reaching for his hip. Now we advance it a little bit. And up. So that guy was reaching. Another guy steps up behind him. And look at this right here on the screen right now. Zoom and enhance. That is either a pistol or a taser that is pointed at this man right now. So again, we see larger black gentleman is reaching. Don't know what he's reaching for. A tall white guy in the blue shirt just swatted at the lady. Didn't connect, but looked like he was trying to take her phone out of her hand. Looks like he didn't connect. She got the phone out of the way. And then black gentleman in the white hat with tactical vest on is reaching to his hip. And somebody walks up behind him, weapon drawn. Look at this. Right there. You can see it clearly in the frame. Boom. That is a drawn weapon, kids. Now, the cop is off screen behind and to the left of whoever is shooting this video. Nobody gets arrested for brandishing a weapon? No, because it's one cop on 20, 30 rioters. Nothing's going to happen here. And a lot of these tweets are absolutely right. Plano, Texas yielded the field here. The officer went after the driver. Man, this is nuts. This is absolutely insane. And that leads us, it kind of dovetails very nicely into a story I'm about to tell you. Okay? The NAACP, that's National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, went to the Supreme Court in 1958. A little bit of a history lesson. Wait, we have to go to the Mojo University. Yeah, we got to go to the Mojo University. Let me see here. Where is it? Ah, here we go. Oh, are you kidding me? It's not going to work now? Alright, I don't have it loaded. That really sucks. I hate this thing. I'm going to redo my whole soundboard because this thing does not work well. Anyway, so Oh, real quick. Hang on. Let me see if I can do this. I can do this. I can be my own producer. I need to hire a producer because I really suck at doing this live. Let's see here. Hopefully it doesn't get an echo here, but here we go.
This is the Mojo 50 Institute for the Advanced Application of Freedom. Yeah, bitches.
Okay, we're going to go into some history here. The NAACP was protected by this civil rights ruling in 1958. Now Democrats want to reverse it because they want to dox conservatives. All right? So this is a story. 1958, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of the NAACP against Alabama in a decision that likely saved the civil rights organization at one of its most vulnerable times. Alabama at the time was attempting to force the NAACP to publicly disclose their list of members and financial supporters, which would have made them subject to abuses and persecutions of racists in positions of power, as well as the Democrat terrorist groups like the KKK, who were being protected by the corrupt within the state and local governments. Okay? The most central theme here was that the NAACP had no reason to trust the Democrat-dominated government of Alabama, which was thoroughly infiltrated by the KKK. Sound familiar? It should. So, fast forward to today. The state is California, which, according to NPR, has a law similar to the laws of other states that requires tax-exempt charities to file with the state a list of their large donors. A copy, in fact, of the list they file annually with the IRS. The situation today is very similar to what it was in Alabama, except the organizations at risk are the Americans for Prosperity Foundation and the Thomas More Law Center, two of the more prominent conservative organizations in America. The fact of the matter is, California is attempting to force these two conservative organizations to disclose their list of top donors. Detractors will make the immediate claim that the California law, quote, requires confidentiality, and that this information wouldn't be released publicly. But that's an oversimplistic defense, a very naive one. The facts in these cases are quite similar in that the conservative individuals and organizations have absolutely no reason to trust the Democrat government of California, which has shown itself to have been co-opted, if not outright infiltrated at the local and state level by radical groups like BLM and Antifa. Just like the NAACP had no reason to trust the Democrat government of Alabama, just like the KKK, radicals of BLM and Antifa would seek to harm, persecute, cancel, or even kill high-level conservative individuals who may be supporting these groups in secret out of fear. Instead of lynchings, we see conservatives ripped from their vehicles and killed at BLM Antifa roadblocks. Instead of burning crosses, we see burning businesses and autonomous zones. This is not a comparison to count stacked bodies. There is no question that black Americans suffered far worse depredations under the likes of the KKK and the co-opted state governments under Jim Crow. The horrors that black Americans faced span nearly a century after the guns of the South fell silent. We're not nearly as far along in a similar process. But one would think we could learn from our history. The NAACP fought valiantly against racist bigotry and persecution, but groups like the AFP Foundation and the Thomas More Foundation and other conservative groups are fighting against the new evil Democrats have unleashed upon America: political bigotry and persecution. That's what you just saw in Plano, Texas. You saw a police officer who knows that the media and the government of his city are supportive of BLM and Antifa. So what can he do? Americans are attacking each other today, not for having a different color of skin or nation of origin, but for having a different set of ideals. In the case in Plano, Texas, a young man was shot and killed by police. The police officer is facing charges, and 7 police officers have been terminated from their jobs. So the system is working. Evidently not fast enough. Wasn't fast enough to save that young man's life, unfortunately. But the officer that took it will face consequences, I have no doubt. And this is without even getting into the particulars of the case. Whether or not this was a clean shoot or not. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are. But point blank, the attorney for Americans for Prosperity says, if people couldn't give anonymously to the NAACP in 1958, it might not have been able to make the advances for civil rights it did. And especially now the stakes are very high because the internet makes it very, very hard to give an unpopular cause and endure retaliation and reprisal and the threats of violence that may, I'll add, and do follow. And here's the kicker. The NAACP and the ACLU submitted a brief to the Supreme Court supporting Americans for Prosperity. So when lefties like Sean Delaney, the former head of the New York State Bureau charged with supervising charities, gave the patent leftist opinion, paraphrased, how dare you compare conservative rights to the civil rights movement, when he said the notion that this is any resemblance whatsoever to cases like NAACP versus Alabama is frankly an insult to the civil rights movement. Well, apparently the NAACP and the ACLU, two major players in the civil rights movement, disagree. Legally, on paper. California's assurances that the information would stay confidential are not convincing. Why? They've had multiple leaks. Multiple data breaches. The ACLU wrote, in short, California cannot force groups to disclose information because they've proven themselves incompetent to prevent data breaches. They wrote, California cannot force nonprofit organizations and their supporters to bear the risk of the state's demonstrated inability to maintain the confidentiality of sensitive associational information. That pretty much destroys all arguments of how dare you. We have more video from Portland this week. There'll be some more cussing in here. I'm going to try to bleep out as best I can. But we have another video. Heavily armed BLM and Antifa militia in Portland stopping drivers.
This is not a fucking game.
Let's go do it again.
You better not. You better fucking not. You better fucking not. You better fucking not. Put your fucking gun down. Put your fucking gun down.
Put the weapon down. I don't care. Put it down. Back up. Back the fuck up.
You got about 5 seconds to lower that fucking weapon.
Back the fuck up.
You got about 5 seconds to lower that fucking weapon.
Get your booty back in your car.
Get. You go bad. You tell these cocksuckers to move.
Alright, I'm not even going to try to censor this.
Man, I'm getting sick of this shit.
You fucking idiot. You point a weapon at me. You point a fucking weapon at me.
This is happening in Portland right now. This is suburban Portland.
Your vehicle is a deadly weapon.
You know what? That fucking weapon right there is a fucking deadly weapon.
Yeah, right. You can kill more people with that fucking truck.
All right, I'm gonna put a stop to this right now just because of the language. But here's the situation. A man is attempting to drive his vehicle through Portland, encounters a Portland BLM Antifa militia roadblock, and tries to go through because it's an illegal roadblock. They can't be blocking the streets. BLM and Antifa pull a gun on him, and he gets out of the car with his own weapon. Okay? And this confrontation ensues. Fast forward, literally, he drives through after enough people clear out, and then gets out of the car to confront them. This was a mistake. But he gets out of the car to confront them, promptly gets tackled to the ground, and starts getting kicked. Watch. Okay, so I'm going to back it up a little bit so you can just see him drive through and note that he didn't hurt anybody. Drive through, gets back in his vehicle, and there he is driving. Somebody hits his car. They're hitting his truck. Now he's going through. People are yelling at him to go.
Get the fuck out.
Leave.
Get the fuck out. Go. Leave. Move. Move. of here!
So now he stops and gets out.
Hey, back the fuck up! Leave! Get out of here!
Goes back, gets his weapon,
Now!
comes
Get
back
now!
out,
Leave! Leave! Fucking
gets
leave!
shoved,
Leave!
raises his
Put your
weapon,
fucking down!
gets tackled,
Get the weapon! Get the weapon! Get the weapon!
and is
Get him on the
getting
ground!
basically his arse handed to him.
I'm a disabled Marine.
Get the fuck.
I don't give a fuck who you are!
Ready to get the fuck out of here?
You better not! You better...
So that's in Portland. So that's two very different cities right now. Plano, Texas, and Portland. And what's the commonality? Did you see any cops in the Portland situation? No. This is insanity. Insanity. Didn't get to our last story today, which is about COVID. We'll do that another day, but the sheer breakdown that is happening around us, it's accelerating. And it is only a matter of time before the shooting starts. I mean, we are on a knife's edge here, folks. And you have the most inept, incompetent leaders we've ever seen in Washington, D.C., who will do nothing to stop this. BLM and Antifa are running rampant. And nothing will be done. They've out and out threatened the mayor of Portland. And even cities in Texas are intimidated. I think the only reason we haven't seen this so much here in Arizona is it's too damn hot. But it's coming to a city near you. And how does it happen? I just showed you. Nickelodeon. Now, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it wasn't that overt. The indoctrination. Imagine how bad it's going to be in 20 years. With this indoctrination continuing. Folks, I've got a bad feeling about this. Got a bad feeling about this. Feel like, we're up to that part in Inspector Finch's speech where somebody's going to do something stupid. Even stupider than January 6th. And then things are going to get nasty. And the authoritarian leftists are going to respond in the only way they know how. And it's going to be exactly what you saw in Plano. The police aren't going to try and stop the leftists, the Antifa, the Black Lives Matter. No. They're going to go after the conservatives. They're going to go after the people who are standing up against them. Why? Because it's a hell of a lot easier to arrest one guy than it is to try to arrest 100. Brass tacks. All right, folks. That's it for this week. Be safe. Keep your heads on a swivel. Watch your backs. Hold the line. Good night. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America from Phoenix. End transmission.